But it's coming, and there are people that are already doing some, some basic stuff. So, general security. So these are the things that you already do. Patch me if you can. There are a lot of vulnerabilities out there for many databases that there are no patches for, but there's plenty of security releases that never make it in there because people are lazy, or they're like, well, this is our bank database and we don't want to upgrade it because things might break. So they're on an IBM mainframe running, from like 30 years ago, and they're running, Oracle 6 or something. So yeah, if a patch exists and you can patch it, that's a general security thing. You do that with a lot of stuff. Again, starting with what you know. Some of the general security things are preventing access, like through firewalls. You probably all read that study that came out a couple months ago that said that 60% of all databases are just open to the net. If you have a web application, you probably don't need that. I mean, if you're running a service where people can connect to databases and play around with them, which there are out there, then you want that. But pretty much for the most part, you probably don't want people to directly access your database. You're doing it through some kind of interface. And the other thing is you want to be able to prevent meaningful knowledge, right? If somebody steals your, encrypted hard disk, it's going to take them a while to figure out that information. This is also one of those things that, like, if you're the Pentagon, you have to worry about this. If you are one of a million different kinds of sites that might have financial data, right, you're not the shiny red Corvette that people want to steal. You just want to be able to, like, outrun the other guy or be the one car in the parking lot that doesn't have its doors open, right? So there's different levels of security, and depending on where you work, you might have the goal of, well, we just need to be more secure than most of the other people. We need to not be a low-hanging fruit. Or you might be like, well, we're the Department of Defense. We need the best security possible, period. So think of that when you're doing your risk assessments and stuff. But of course, you've already done that, right? You already have all these plans and policies in place. So encryption and permissions, right? If somebody has a login to the box and they can't read a configuration file, that's part of security. So I'm going to talk a little bit about network security. Now, again, I am not a network guru. So again, I might say things that are wrong, and feel free to throw things at me or yell at me or whatever, or just say things. You have physical access and isolation, right? If you can unplug a cable, then you rule the world. Also wireless, this is the whole point about wireless. Everyone's talking wireless security. Well, why is wireless security such a big deal? Nobody really talks about, well, what happens if you get on like a LAN and whatever? Well, it's the same thing. It's just a lot easier to get on a wireless network than it is on a LAN. You could sniff packets over a LAN too, right? It's just easier to sniff packets on the wireless because nobody knows you're there, right? Because you're in the Starbucks across the street. Authentication, again, ACLs. And then traffic shaping, right? So not just, get rid of Napster, LimeWire, or Azurius or whatever, BitTorrent, but, getting patterns, right? I mean, if you work at a university, 95% of the traffic is BitTorrent and whatnot, but, if all of a sudden you start seeing like web traffic or SSH traffic out being 20% of your traffic, there's probably like some kind of bot or some kind of malware installed that's having all this traffic. So knowing your patterns, also volume, you can denial of service. It's really easy to denial of service database. I mean, all you have to do is really load test somebody's application. Load test. Anyway, so again, there's a lot of, with database security and with applications, especially web applications in general, you have a problem because you need to access that data. You need that to be there. So you can't really not allow it. So let's see. Right. Oh, so one of the other ways that you can do content shaping is by user education, right? You can say, don't email passwords because it's plain text, right? You can't really say, don't, look at somebody's credit card number if they're supposed to because they have a subpoena, I mean, all right, securing an operating system, again, authentication with ACLs. You've got a firewall on the thing, and you might use IP tables or something. The installed programs, configurations, the user ACLs, what can people see, what can people not see. A lot of times you're just going to try to not give people a login. You don't run Apache these days. You don't even run it as the nobody user because there might be more than one program that have access to the nobody user. You run it as the Apache user, so if they can log in, they can only get Apache. Securing third-party applications, again, authentication, the configuration, the files, and how you do it, and content shaping, right? If the application all of a sudden starts doing something that's not supposed to, well, either somebody turned on an option or, you know, something's going a little weird. So, let's see. Did I get anything? Are there any questions or anything before I move on? No? Bueller? Anyone? Anyone? Great. Super. I'm going to go over here. Oh, did I just move the thing? Yes. Okay. So, applications, your own applications, not the third party, your own party, right? Again, authentication, who can log in, when, where they can log in from, configuration, and, you know, user-entered data, right? I'm not going to go into SQL injection here. You guys can look it up. You're very smart. If you don't already know it already, you can be like, oh, she said that this is vulnerable SQL injection. I'm going to look up exactly what the syntax is. So even if it's checked elsewhere, user-entered data, you know, if you check it on one page and then go to the next page, well, you know, I can have a page over here that posts the data to that page. So even if you assume on this page that it's already been authenticated because it got to the page, maybe not such a great idea, unless you can actually prevent that kind of access. One of the other things about securing things like applications is if you have something like a command line application or even a desktop application, if you're, you know, logging into the database directly and you've got a history file of the commands you've typed, and you type your password on the command line, yeah, you're going to be able to see that. And you can do that, I mean, with Oracle, with MySQL, you can do that. So you have to be careful about that kind of thing. All right, super. So now, what is a database? Well, that's great. I looked up on like some dictionaries and Wikipedia and whatever. Basically, it's a structured collection of records. I mean, you could have a text file. This is why, you know, SQLite was in the description, even though there's no real examples or whatever. I mean, what makes it different from a text file? Well, it's structured, right? So Excel could theoretically be thought of as a database. So it's a collection of records. But when people say database, they usually mean a DBMS, which is a database management system, which isn't just the collection of records, which is the storage. It's the storage and the retrieval, because that's kind of important, and actual processing. A lot of people try not to do too much processing in the database. There's pros and cons, but you can do it, and it's useful in many, many cases to actually have your DBMS do a lot of processing. Alrighty. Next. Hello. Next. Here we go. Database security in general. The biggest problem with database security is there are so many places and so many parties that are responsible for it. You've got the developers have to write the secure code so you don't get hacked. You have to have the DBA to make sure that the user permissions, the configurations are there. You have to make sure the OS is secure, because if people can log on and read the config, then you have to make sure the network's secure, because anyone can run TCP dump and put the packets together and find out what you sent to the server. So, there's a lot in there. That's four different groups. Now, in some smaller companies, that might be one group. That might be the IT department. But in a lot of places, you have the NOC, you have the systems group, you have the developer group, you have the DBA group, and you might, on top of that, have a security group on top of that. I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of cats to herd and get to agree. So that's really one of the biggest problems. And the other thing is databases are designed to store this information. You can't just say, like I said before, don't email out social security numbers, don't email out credit card numbers. You do have to say, hey, I know you got this database extract. Don't forward it to your colleagues via email. That's important too. But that's not really, I wouldn't really consider that in the realm of database stuff. That's really more of an email thing. Don't email sensitive data. But the database is designed to store and retrieve this sensitive information. So how do you make sure that it's stored and retrieved by the right people at the right times? There's also a whole bunch of varied information and related information. What I mean by that is, when the whole search engine thing happened, and they're like, oh, the records are, they're numbered or whatever, you can't figure out who it is. Well, guess what? They took the related information and the varied information, they put them together, and they could figure out who was doing what, and it was a huge security thing. It's a huge privacy invasion. So even if you think, well, who cares, they get my Facebook password. Well, if there's related information to my Gmail password, and then in my Gmail, well, once they can secure my Gmail, they go to my bank and they say, I forgot my password, please email it to me. Or I forgot my password, please email me a link to go change it. Well, they